Hello guys, this is me Sim Urahara, and today we will be talking about one of the best generators, if not the best, as a character, as a power and as a achievements. Today we will talk about this generator that made Ichigo this way. This generator that defeated Yorichi and her brother despite them using the best Shinko techniques. He almost defeated Uetsu Nimaya, the Zero Squad member, if it weren't for Kirinji's intervention. He forced the genius Urahara Kiske to release his Bankai and made him ally with Grimijo in order to defeat him. We will simply talk about this generator who climbed the stairs and became an elite guard. And if we want to talk about Askin, we have to showcase his course from the very beginning, because honestly, when I read all the chapters in which he appeared, in addition to his lethal ability which helps him to defeat almost every opponent, Kobo gave Askin beautiful characteristics that many of the last arc characters didn't get, and I will talk about it later on. We all know that the official appearance of Askin was in the chapter 542. However, I believe that he appeared before that, because during the first invasion of the Quincy, that was the first appearance of the generator who attacked the Soul Society. This person was one of them, and given the old design of Askin, I think that person was him. And by the way guys, the best thing that Kobo did in the second half of the arc was changing Askin design, because frankly guys, when Askin appeared for the first time his design was very bad, as if he was like some hybrid version of Aizen and Ginjo. And since the anime will be back in 2021, I think they will fix that. But even though his look was awful for me at least, however, because of what happened in that chapter, we knew that Askin had a special place among the generator, and that he also had a charismatic presence, because the way he stopped the fight that was about to happen between Hajvald and Busby, it was so calmly and wise. And in that chapter, Askin also referred to a point that created a debate about the dispute that was happening in the Vandenreich, where it was clear that the generator believed that Hajvald was Urahara's successor, whereas Urahara has nominated Uryu to be his next successor, which didn't please the generator. And anyway, that's another subject. Back to the second half of the arc, in its beginning, we there started to really get to know Askin a little bit. His design was changed, and as I mentioned earlier, it was a good thing. In addition to Hajvald, he was one of the characters that gave us a general explanation about the whereabouts of the Vandenreich for 1,000 years and how they lived in the shadows of the Soul Society. And the funny thing here is that the first Shinigami Askin met was Mayuri, and at the beginning we thought that Kobo divided the fights in a way that we might see fights like Hajvald with Kyoraku and Askin with Mayuri, but we all witnessed how strangely Askin decided to dodge fighting Mayuri, and back then we had no means to know why he decided to avoid this fight. However, when we discovered Askin abilities, this latter knew exactly that Mayuri was the only one with the ability to escape from his lethal power, the death dealing. This is Askin's main ability, and from what I understood, any specific substance that enters the human body or any other creature, no matter what the substance is, and let's take the human body as an example, if this substance enters the human body in quantities more than he can handle, it will poison him. For example, drinking a lot of water is a good thing, but drinking too much water may poison the human body, and this is called the lethal dose of water. If a person weighs, for example, 75 kilograms, a little dose of water for that person is 6 liters. If this person drinks 6 liters of water at once, he will die from water poisoning. And the same goes for caffeine. Many people think that drinking coffee is healthy. However, drinking 118 cups of coffee at once will kill a human body from the little dose of caffeine, and so any healthy substance can become a poison if you take too much of it. and Askin has the ability to manipulate the little dose of any substance as he likes, meaning he can increase it to make it little or decrease it so that person dies slowly. And the condition to activate this ability is for Askin to take the substance that he wishes to increase its little dose for his opponent in his stomach. And we saw in Askin fight against Nemaya that when Nemaya slaughtered Askin and bled through his neck, Askin drank a lot of his blood, and so he activated the blood little dose inside Nemaya's body. And frankly, Nemaya was in a very bad situation. If it weren't for him using cringy red water techniques to replace all the poison blood in his body, he would have died. However, Askin's problem, or rather Kobo's problem, is that he repeats the same mistakes with many characters. He makes them explain their abilities to their opponents, and if the opponents is somehow smart, the table will turn, and that's what happened with Nemaya. But overall, Askin's ability remains special and isn't limited to making the substance that enters the body poisonous, but goes way beyond that. When Inoue and Sado came to save Ichigo, Askin enabled his ability, the Poison Ball, where he used the reishi in his surroundings and he heavily condensed it in the ball, which made Inoue and Sado poisoned with the reishi. And this is another way for Askin to poison his victims when he's not able to take the substance he wants to turn into poison in his stomach for some reason. And this is it for the offensive techniques. When it comes to defense, we saw that Askin has a strong immune system. Just as he can eat a certain substance and make it poisonous and lethal to his victim, he can self-immune his body against the same poisonous substance, which makes him immune to easy death. And the same thing happened with Yurichi and her brother when they attacked him with that immense amount of Ryatsu through the Shinko attacks. He enabled a little dose by making the Ryatsu poisonous, and he also immuned himself against the Ryatsu in a way that any other attack would be useless whatever the amount of power they use. So as you may have noticed, with these offense and defense abilities, Askin appears mortifying, but with all of that, Askin avoided the fight against Mayuri because he knew why, and the proof was when Askin became in a direct confrontation against the genius Urahara Kiske, because the power alone does not work against Askin. And this was clear when Ichigo was defeated by him, and the same thing happened for Grimijo and Yurichi. And all of these people are very strong, but Askin's weakness is a strong opponent, and also this opponent must be a scientist, because those kind of opponents will know how to deal with Askin's ability. And Mayuri, as we know, he has several experience in those kind of situations. And Kiske also is a man of that culture. We also saw how he injected Yurichi with a vaccine that made her resist to Askin's poison. Although the vaccine was temporary and lasts for only I think 5 minutes, but it was sufficient for Yurichi to activate the mode in which she becomes a cat. And here comes one of Askin's weaknesses. But I can't really be considered it as a weakness, because as we said, Askin becomes immune to the substance that he makes poisonous. But the problem is that Askin loses this immunity as soon as the composition of that substance changes, and this became evident when Yurichi became in the cat mode and she was changing her Ryatsu 48 times a second. It made Askin unable to self-immune himself against the changing of the Ryatsu. However, as I said, this weakness is not a big thing, because it disappears when Askin releases his holy form. So when Askin becomes in his holy form, he is able to form immunity against any substance even if it changes several times. And I must say that the holy form, or the full standing of Askin, is one of the coolest forms designed by Kobo for the Sternritter, and he's the only one that I liked the holy form of his release among the elite guards, because at least Kobo did not mutilate his body the way he did with Lilybaro and Gerard or even Ace Note. But again, the biggest problem with Askin is that he explains his abilities to the enemy. I don't know why, and it's true that Kiske came loaded with several scenarios of the battle against Askin, and Kiske would have found several solutions and possibilities in order to defeat him. But Askin himself facilitated the matter for Kiske by explaining how the abilities of his holy form work, which made Kiske involve Grimijo in the battle and put a hole in Askin's chest. Nevertheless, we saw how even in his last moments, Askin's ability Gift Ball Deluxe becomes like a chicken poisoned bomb that increases its toxicity with his death, and so whoever in that scoop of that ability is condemned to die with him. But Urahara Kiske was expecting that and made Nell wait outside to save them in the event of such a scenario. And it should also, guys, noted that the use of this ability, the little dots, it's not easy, because the little dots basically changes from one person to another, and several factors interfere with it, such a person weight, many other factors, and that seemed clear when Askin only figured Nehemiah weight through a short clash between them. And this is why Askin, in my opinion, is the number one of the Sternritter. He defeated so many characters, and many characters came together just to defeat him. But for me personally, what I liked more about Askin, he wasn't just another monster without brain like Gerard, or a Sternritter with several transformations like Lily Barrow. Askin nakk had ambitions and visions, and his discussion with Kiske in their fight was an evidence of that. Askin was not blindly loyal to Urahara, but he was curious to see what is the real world that Urahara wanted to make. And this is why Kobo often hooked us with several great scenes in the last arc from Askin's point of view. In his first appearance, we saw how he stopped the dispute between Hashvolt and Busby, and he hinted at the possibility that Hashvolt was the future successor, and also his wonderful entry in the second invasion, as he explains to the Shinigami how they have been with them for 1,000 years inside the shadows. And also Askin is the only character and the only source in the manga that gave us a glimpse of the identity of the rest of the Elite Guard members. He pointed to the fact that Gerard is the heart of the Soul King, and also Pernida, I think the right or the left hand, I don't remember. And also Askin has one of the most amazing scenes that Kobo drew for Askin when he was talking while the hero of the story was stuck to the ground in a humiliating position, and his reaction when he knew that he was the only one who rise to be in the Elite Guard. And also Askin used the bows and arrows in his fight against Yorichi. These are the things that most Sternritter have forgotten. In conclusion, I can say that Askin nakk is among the few characters that appeared in the last arc in a good way, as a character, as a power, and as a path. And I wish if we had seen his past to dive deeper into this wonderful character. But now, since the anime is coming back, and I wish and I hope Kobo will put some flashbacks of some Sternritter, like Askin nakk. So what do you think, guys, about Askin nakk? And see you in my next video.